بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
There is a special form of deception for Muslims. And this is interesting. And there was a scholar in the 8th century after the Hijrah, Ibn Khudama al-Maqdisi, rahimahullah, from Syria, in his Minhaj al-Qasidin. In this work that he wrote, he studied the internal workings of people. He studied the heart, he studied the spirit. He looked not only externally, but he wanted to know what makes us tick on the inside. And in his chapter, Bab al-Ghurur, he had a special chapter for deception. And he showed us that when you talk about taqwa, you are talking about a combination of al-khawf wal-raja'. That taqwa is fear, you fear the punishment of Allah, but at the same time, you hope in the mercy of Allah. And we know that Allah is most merciful, so Islam speaks more about the mercy of Allah than about the punishment. But there's two things going on at the same time. And he pointed out that fear and hope are catalysts that stimulate you to action. Fear makes you run from something. Hope makes you move towards something. But anything that stops you from working, that stops you from doing your actions of Islam, is deception. It is ghurur. And it is alive and well. And the word ghurur also means in the dictionary delusion, illusion, conceit, vanities, danger, and it also is used to describe the shaitan himself. Because that is the essence of the devil's trick, is to deceive people. And so the great scholar looked at the Muslims. And from amongst what he came across, and it's so interesting because this was in the 8th century. Okay, we're now right 15th century. And when you look at that, you will see that, as he pointed out, there's a general deception that the masses of the people have, like those who bet on the lottery. And you know, the person who gave the lottery to the woman in Toronto, his name was Yusuf. He was a Muslim who owned the 7-Eleven. And he was smiling and congratulating her. So he's caught up in the illusion himself. So the Muslims can get caught up in that general illusion and deception that goes to the masses of the people. But there's another one for people who have knowledge, people who have done things in Islam. Once you're in Islam and you're practicing, one form of this ghurur is of those people who have good deeds and bad deeds. They have hasanat and sayyi'at. Like a person, as the Shaykh said, who does istighfar 100 times in the morning. He asks Allah to forgive him 100 times in the morning, and then he scandalizes Muslims for the rest of the day. He backbites people, talks about them, insults them, he's rude when he's dealing with them, but he thinks that because he made istighfar 100 times in the morning, that will cover all the rest of his sins. That's deception. It's a form of ghurur. Try to understand this concept. Another one is that there are amongst the scholars, there are people who actually have the outward appearance of knowledge or piety. And there are some people who think that because of their family, that they don't have to do Islamic work. Oh, my father was a great scholar of Islam. I don't have to study. My mother gave in charity. I don't have to give zakat. My family is the family of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. So we're all forgiven. This is deception. Even somebody who claims to have knowledge and who has the outward trappings of it can get caught up inside of this deception. Another group, which let's take it a step deeper, like the Sheikh did, there's a group that knows that you're supposed to deal with yourself, that don't just be a Muslim on the outside, on the inside, they know this. But at the same time, they don't practice it. And so they can tell you the theory, but inside their heart, they have jealousy. They do things for riyah, to be seen by people. They want position. They want their name to be mentioned. They fight for authority. Their ego controls their life. This is a form of deception. Taking it a step further, we find that Ibn Khudama in the 8th century after the Hijrah, speaking, and this is happening to us now, that there are people who spend all their time on studying ilm al-khilaf. They study the knowledge of dispute, how to argue with other Muslims. And so they spend their time looking up answers about this issue or that issue. And so they spend all the time arguing about this issue and that issue, and then all their work is finished. They don't do dawah. They're not in the field teaching Islam to people. They're not building an Islamic society. They're not doing amr bil ma'ruf or nahy al munkar. They're not forbidding evil where it's supposed to be forbid. But their time, is consumed fighting amongst Muslims and causing confusion, and they think that they're doing good. They think inside themselves that they're actually the true Muslims, the leaders of Islam, but they're holding back Islam. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, in a hadith reported by At-Tirmidhi, which is Hasan al-Sahih, has said, مَا ضَلَّ قَوْمًا قَطْ بَعْدَ هُدَى إِلَّا أُوتُوا الْجَدَلِ. That people did not go astray after guidance until they were given dispute. The art of dispute, how to argue and debate with other people. And so we see this confusion that is coming out.